Hi guys, my name is Miss Wolf. I'm a primary school teacher and today I'm going to talk to you about direct speech. So if you look at a comic strip or cartoon, it's very easy to see who is speaking because we have a speech bubble that goes around the words and the little arrow points towards the character who's actually speaking. But how do we show this in our writing? We cannot put speech bubbles in the middle of our paragraphs. The first thing we need to do is write down the words that the person is saying. So for example, go home Snoopy. After that, I need to put quotation marks around the text. Please remember that quotation marks are like a pair of socks. You cannot only have one, they always come in twos. You can use double quotation marks, that means 2 lines, or single quotation marks, that means 1 line. It just depends on your school or your country which one they prefer. After putting quotation marks around the word spoken, I need to say who is speaking. So for example, go home Snoopy, said Charlie, and Charlie said, go home Snoopy. It doesn't matter if the said part is at the beginning or the end of the sentence. When we're punctuating simple direct speech, where the said part is at the beginning or the end of the sentence, we have some things that we need to keep in mind. So the first thing again, if you don't know how to do it or you're unsure, always underline the words that were spoken and then put quotation marks around it. Now we need to add 2 more punctuation marks. Every sentence usually ends at the full stop, and go home Snoopy, we're going to put a comma after this. I will explain in the next slide why we're putting a comma there. If you count your punctuation marks, there should be 2 quotation marks, the comma and the full stop. That will be 4. If the said part is at the beginning of the sentence, exactly the same thing. Go home Snoopy, put quotation marks around it, add 2 more punctuation marks. You can see in both of these examples, when you count your punctuation, there should be 4 speech punctuation. Let's have a look at these 3 examples. In all 3 of these, the said part is at the beginning of the sentence. This is again simple direct speech. Then we have the 3 sentences. They are different not only in terms of content, but also in what kind of sentences they are. So the first one, it is going to rain today, is a statement sentence. The second one, hurry up, is an order or command sentence. And the last one, may I leave early, is a question sentence. Depending on the sentence type, it's going to change the end punctuation we use. So let's look at the first one. It is going to rain today. We know that statement sentences end in full stops or periods. The second one, hurry up, order or command sentences need to end in exclamation marks. And the last one, question sentences need to end in a question mark. Please take note that the punctuation mark comes inside the quotation marks. And another thing I want to please point out, after the said, the yelled, and the asked, there needs to be a comma. Remember in the last slide I said 4 speech punctuation? You need to add them. The I and it, the H and hurry, and the M and may are all capitalized because they're starting the quote. Please don't forget to do that. These 3 sentences are identical to the ones we've just looked at. The only difference is that now the said part is at the end. So if we look at the first one, it is going to rain today. We already discussed that this is a statement sentence. So you're probably wondering, why do I put a comma and not a period or a full stop after today? Well, if I put a full stop after today, that would mean the sentence is ending. But the sentence is not ending because we have to include the Jack said. That is why we need to put a comma and not a full stop there. The second one, hurry up, we already know it's a command sentence, so I put an exclamation mark. And the last one, may I leave early, again the question mark. Same as last time, those punctuation marks need to come inside the quotation marks. All of these 3 sentences end with a full stop. Please be careful because sometimes students will put the punctuation marks at the end of the sentence. So for example, hurry up, Julie yelled. Some students might put the exclamation mark after the yelled. That's the wrong place. Can you try to punctuate these two simple direct speech? Let's have a look. So, can you help me carry this where the word's spoken? It's a question, so I put a question mark inside the quotation marks and I end the sentence with a full stop. The second one, after replied, I need to put a comma, then I need to capitalize the S for sorry, open the quotation marks, and at the end of that quote, I put a full stop inside the quotation marks. Let's move on. If you look at this sentence, this is not simple direct speech. This is a little bit more complicated because the said part is in the middle of a quote. It's kind of like interrupting the quote. So let's start with the simple things first. Again, you should underline the exact words that were spoken. I cannot underline moaned Anna because that's the person speaking. That's the said part. It's not what someone actually said. So I need to put quotation marks around what was said. The same thing applies. I need to have 2 pairs of quotation marks, so a total of 4 quotation marks. I cannot include the moaned Anna inside the quotation marks because that is not what the person said. That is the person who is speaking. So after I've put my quotation marks, I need to add 3 more speech punctuation. So let's have a look. How do you know what to put where? First of all, you need to ask yourself, are these 2 sentences 2 independent sentences, or is it one sentence that continues from the first quote going into the second quote? Let's see. It is raining is a complete sentence. I can't believe I forgot to bring my umbrella. That's also a complete sentence. So I know already it is raining is a statement sentence, and I'm going to put a comma, and then I'm going to say moaned Anna. Now, after Anna, I'm going to put a full stop. Why? Because the next quote is a sentence by itself. So I'm going to put a full stop there and then have my next quote, which is going to end in exclamation. If you count your punctuation marks now, you're going to have 7. Let's look at this example. My mom said it would rain today, replied Sue, so I brought my raincoat to school. Again, let's start with the basics. Underline the words that were said. Let's put quotation marks around it. Now ask yourself, are these 2 sentences independent sentences, or is it one sentence continuing? My mom said it would rain today. That's a complete sentence. So I brought my raincoat to school. Now, if you remember, you cannot start a sentence with so. That's an incomplete sentence. So that tells me that this sentence is actually one sentence that is continuing. It's just being interrupted by the quote. Because of that, after the said part, or in this case, the replied Sue, I'm going to put a comma and not a full stop. Because the sentence is continuing. Also, for the so, it will not start with a capital S because it's not a new quote in a new sentence. Again, if I count the speech punctuation, there should be 7. Let's look at this example. I can't wait until summer vacation. My family and I are going to Japan, exclaimed Max. We will be there for 1 month. Now, if you have to go through this slide and you start counting the punctuation, you're probably going to ask, but why are there more than 7? Please remember what I said in the slides before. 7 speech punctuation. So if we had to look at the speech punctuation, now highlighted in red on your screens, you will see that we still have 7. The exclamation mark after vacation is not counted as part of the speech punctuation. That is simply an exclamation mark showing the ending of one sentence and the beginning of another. You can have 1, 2, 3, many sentences in one single quote. Do not count that punctuation as part of your speech punctuation. Let's have a look at this one. I've already underlined the direct speech for you. Now, can you try and punctuate it by yourself? Remember, ask yourself, is it one sentence continuing through the quote, or is it two individual sentences? If you look at the first one, where are you going? Yelled Joe. Come back here this instant. Where are you going is a sentence by itself. Come back here this instant is also a sentence by itself. So because of that, after the yelled Joe, I need to put a full stop. And then I need to capitalize the C for come back. Again, count your punctuation. 4 quotation marks, a comma, a full stop, and another full stop. 7. Let's look at the next one. I want to come to your party, explained Janice, but my mom said I can't. I want to come to your party is a complete sentence. But my mom said I can't. That's not a complete sentence. That means this sentence is continuing from the first quote through to the second one. That means after Janice, I need to put a comma. Thanks for watching. I hope that you have a better understanding of direct speech now. Please ask if you have any questions. Bye!